TNA Wrestling crossed the line one last time with their last pay-per-view of 2024, that being Final Resolution. And well, did they deliver or did they deliver? They delivered an action-packed evening as they go off 2024, as they sign off 2024 pay-per-view wise in style. Big debut, big returns certainly happen. They keep the surprises coming. But let's get in to Final Resolution, and we'll start with the pre-show match. The first one was Leon Slater, England's own, against JDC of the System. And then, funnily enough, I put that I thought Leon was going to win this match. Actually, that was my prediction. If you guys remember, there was a great lot of action in this. Obviously, Leon just showing you why he is one of the best British talents right now in the business. He was exciting as ever in this. JDC, that wily veteran as well, was always trying to find a way to stop the momentum of Leon as it kept on going through the match. And it was a really good start actually to this match, and a really good start to the pay-per-view as a whole. Leon just flying around everywhere, doing his high flying stuff. But unfortunately, in this match, he didn't get the victory because JDC ended up rolling Leon Slater up and putting his feet on the ropes to pick up the victory. I will say that Leon had a great outing here in this match, even in defeat. He's one of the most dynamic wrestlers on that roster, on TNA's roster. There is a lot like him in the sense of, speed and quickness, but Leon adds his own uniqueness to his style, which does make him different from the others. And you know, he was exciting as ever in this. Was JDC's victory questionable? Was there people saying, why did he win? I don't think so. I think like although Slater could have used the victory to start gaining momentum into 2025, I think this sets up a rematch, and then we'll start to see more of Leon Slater winning matches in there because I believe that you know I still believe that Slater's going to win a championship in 2025 in TNA. I think it's nailed on that he's going to do it. What one? I have no clue, but he will win one. That's a definite guarantee for sure. But yes, JDC does beat Leon Slater in one of the pre-show matches to Final Resolution. Now they do go out the back to Gia Miller, and she has announced that Hammerstone is unfortunately unable to compete in that triple threat tag match. He was tagging with Jake something. He was going against the Rascalz. They were going against PCO and Callihan. And they asked Jake something if he's got a replacement, to which Jake something says he doesn't need any help and he's going to go it alone. So as it stands right now, Jake something will be going in to a triple threat tag match without a partner. I don't know if that's wise. I don't know if that's wise at all. But we go into a match that I was really looking forward to. Jonathan Gresham, Frankie Kazarian. John Gresham, probably one of the best technical, as I said, the best technical wrestler in the world right now. Frankie Kazarian, call your shot gauntlet, Matt, call your shot gauntlet winner, or call your shot winner, whatever you want to call it, these two put on a great back and forth, really solid back and forth. Like I said, you had that technical brilliance and technical wizardry of Gresham. You have that, again, a bit like JDC, the wily veteran trying to find a way out. And funnily enough, he did find a way out because when Gresham was a lot of pin attempts going on, Kazarian put a thumb in the eye and then locked in the chicken wing. And I was quite surprised that Gresham actually tapped out to the chicken wing. I don't know if it was the thumb in the eye that caused the issue, but whatever happened there, Kazarian makes Gresham tap out. I was really surprised about that, but it was a solid outing from both guys. I do feel, although I wanted Gresham to win, I do feel that Kazarian needed the win because he's got that call your shot opportunity. If he loses, I'm not quite sure that it would make, when he then goes to cash in. I know sometimes they do that in wrestling, don't they? You've got a title opportunity and you'll lose, and then you'll cash in and win, and it will change everything. But I think what TNA are doing here are right. They're using Kazarian, the platform, the build, wins, and it pushes him right into next year. Obviously, nicely into next year. He's got that call your shot gauntlet. And I think that it did help Gresham the fact that he used the thumb in the eye before putting the chicken wing on. So he didn't actually make Gresham look too weak in there either. So, you know, good way of protecting Gresham, but keeping Kazarian on that momentum and another solid back and forth match in this. Really, it really sort of set the standard as to what we were going to get at Final Resolution right now. And as it begins with the X Division Championship opportunity, a real David and Goliath match, clash of styles all over the place here. With the big, strong Moose, the X Division champion, and the quickness of KUSHIDA, it was, do you know what? It actually, I feel this over delivered. I really do, because obviously, look, Moose did pick up the victory. There's no doubt about that. Moose won this match. But there was some I mean, Kushida had Moose in a hoverboard, for Christ's sake, a hoverboard lock. And there was times in that match where Kushida had some real 2.9, 2.8 pinfalls on Moose. It looked like it could have won it at some points during these matches. There were some great near falls in this. And then there was the fact the clash of styles, because Kushida was looking at submission holds and stuff like that, and Moose was trying to scramble to get out of the hold. But I will say this, like, Moose being so big and so strong and so powerful, you forget how good his actual ground game is as well. And although he was scrabbling around to get out, he still had to get put in these moves by Kushida. It was a real fun match, and I tell you, kudos to Moose. He does pick up the victory whilst hitting the spear. As I said before, I thought it was, you know, a real solid step in his title reign. For Moose, there was a questionable as to whether when he won it, it was quite questionable. But I think he's come on it and he's done the first few defenses he's had. He's been brilliant, and I do honestly think he's really kind of proving a lot of doubters wrong with the championship, with that X Division championship. And look, long may it continue, because he's a hell of a competitor, and it was a great match. So kudos to both, to be fair, in this, because it was brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Right. They interviewed AJ Francis backstage about the world title match. Now we come along to this. Well, it was going to be a three-way tag. It ended up being a tag team plus one. This was Jake something, as we already mentioned, Hammerstone's injury. Hopefully he gets better soon and he's not out for too long. But I think if we remember, he was injured in the last pay-per-view, if I remember rightly, quite early on in the match. If we remember, there was that big there was a Turkey Bowl match, wasn't it? And he got injured quite early into that, if I remember correctly. So it's probably that injury flaring up. Hopefully not too serious. Hopefully it won't keep him out of action for too long, and we'll see him the next side of 2025 as we go into Genesis, which is the next pay-per-view, by the way. You know what though? Considering they didn't have, you know, Jake Summing didn't have a partner, it was a fun match, and he actually come out of this looking like a badass, because he went through the whole match he went through the whole match on his own without a partner as well. It was really, really good. PCO and Callihan actually works really well together. It looks like it's a fun pairing. It looks like they're actually having fun in this as well, if that makes sense. They just come together well. They do. They just work. I don't know why, but they just absolutely work. And then the Rascalz, as always, looking great with their high flying antics, and they're flying around the ring. And it was, in fact, the Rascalz did pick up the victory after they double teamed Jake something in this match. And you think, and I think I said the Rascal. Did I say the Rascalz, or did I say PCO and Callihan? I might have gone for PCO and Callihan. Actually, which I was wrong. But I do think the Rascalz are headed to the World Tag Team Champions, whoever they will be, because we've got the tag team tables match coming up, but the Rascalz seem to be heading in the direction of the tag team opportunity. But I do hope that PCO and Callihan get a chance as well, because they're a good, fun pairing, and TNA have done well putting them together. I'm a real fan of PCO and Callihan. Not quite sure what the team name is yet. Maybe they should put it out on social media about the team, get them a team name, because I think those two together work really, really well. And this match was a real fun. I think a lot of it was fun tonight with TNA. It was fun. There was some real shocking moments in there, some real hard hitting, but overall it was just fun. It was just nice to watch, and you didn't roll your eyes or you didn't you're like, oh, it was just you just watched every match and it was you just sat there and was like, yeah, this is great. I love it. But the Rascalz pick up the victory, and as PCO and Callihan are showing the respect to the Rascalz, yet another 23 teaser plays, but this time with a message. It says it is just a number. And I said on the review that I think 23 is going to be the date of the reveal, sorry, which is going to be the 23rd of January, which is TNA's live episode of Impact. And you think they're gonna do something there, aren't they? Because it's the live Impact, the first live Impact in years, and you think you got to kind of set the standard right for TNA. And I think they're going to do that with a big episode there and that big reveal. Big things will happen on that episode of TNA Impact. Mark my words on that one. Now we'll go to there was a bit backstage where Eric Young was with Maclin. He was talking about a four-way. But now we'll go to Ace Austin and Trent Seven. Now, this match was put together quite late on in the day. I think it was made this past week on Impact, actually. It was a real competitive match for this. Ace Austin, Trent Seven really put on the. Trent is so. I think sometimes people, I don't quite know where he fits, like in terms of is he a heavyweight, is he an X division, but that's how good he is because he can put him into matches without, doesn't matter who he's against. It will be a real fantastic match. He'll just adapt to the style of the person that he's facing, which is brilliant. It is absolutely brilliant. Him and Ace Austin put off a real competitive, fun match. Ace Austin obviously done the art of finesse, and he does a lot of, it was really nice to see that for Chris Bay, putting him in there. There was some big hits of counting a burning hammer into a DDT in this, and then actually hit the art of finesse to pick up the victory against Trent Seven on this. But it was just really great. And as I said, you can't with Trent Seven, he just adapts to everything. He's so adaptable when he's in that ring. He can go against anybody. He will put up a great, great match. He will just adapt to the style that he's wrestling. It was brilliant. These two put on a fantastic, fantastic match, and kudos to both. It was quite lately put together. I suppose where does Ace Austin go from here? It's a bit of obviously the situation with Chris Bay, very serious injury. I think from reports, it was one of the worst injuries that they've seen in wrestling in some time. So we don't even know if Chris Bay's ever going to be back, which is, I don't know that for factually, of course. But if he is, it's going to be a while. Where does Ace Austin go from there? Be interesting. I don't know. I'm not sure. But we'll see with that. But it was nice that he won with the art of finesse, though. I did like that, and the fold as well. It was nice. It was a good way of putting it on, that for him. And obviously, we hope Chris Bay's healing and getting better, and hopefully it's not the last we see of Chris Bay this year. Well, not the last we see of Chris Bay in wrestling. Hopefully he'll be back next year at some point, and we'll see. But with Ace Austin, who knows? But Trent Seven, great, great outing. But Ace Austin picks up the win and ends 2024 pay-per-view wise with a dub. Backstage, they were talking with Frankie Kazarian, and he was basically just saying how he was going to be keeping an eye on the World Heavyweight Championship match. Of course he is. It's Kaz. That's what he does. He's very good at mind games, is Kaz. Jordynne Grace and Rosemary next. You remember if you watched my review, you will know that I said I think that Tessa Blanchard is going to come out here and return to TNA. and perhaps feud with Jordynne Grace. I was right. It did happen. Look, it was a really, again, the match itself between Rosemary and Jordynne Grace was brilliant, solid, competitive. They You put them two in the ring, it works. It just works. They're great at what they do. They were fantastic. These two were putting on a really, really good, solid match. And you know, I could have watched more of it, to be honest. I would have liked a lot more. But you know, as Grace hits a muscle bust, I mean, they were trading shots in the ring, these two. They weren't leaving anything. They were going at it. With Rosemary and Jordynne Grace, they were going at it. It went up the ramp, it went back down again. They was all over the place. And just when Grace hits the spear is when the masked individual pulled the referee out and attacked Jordynne Grace. And I mean, the master Satan at the time was just literally dropped Grace with a DDT and then unmasked to reveal herself as Tessa Blanchard, which is you know, wow. Tessa Blanchard back in TNA. Controversial decision. We know there is a lot of controversy around Tessa Blanchard. I think what I would say about her is, controversy aside, when she's in the ring, there ain't many people better than Tessa Blanchard. That's what I will say. Obviously, there's stuff that's gone on that we hear about, you know, the be all and end all and everything like that. And what goes on outside it all goes on behind the scenes at shows. You know, we only hear information about, but what I'm concerned about is the action in that ring. And she is one of the best. And if Jordynne Grace is on her way out of TNA, it's a fantastic replacement to go in there from a wrestling standpoint, is Tasha Blanchard. So DQ, I believe, on this one. And a great return for Tessa Blanchard. And backstage, actually, she did say that she was reminding everyone who the company was built on. I think Tessa Blanchard was actually TNA heavyweight champion at one point, the men's heavyweight champion at one point, the world champion at one point. She's back and she's taking what's hers. It was interesting. I think the only thing I would say about it is the signing got let. Obviously, I knew before we come on, when I've done the review last night. I think the signing was leaked out. It would have been interesting if it wasn't leaked, but I don't know. I don't know why that was, whether that was let out. But anyway, Tessa Blanchard in solid match between Jordynne and Rosemary. It was a real good, and what a great thing at the end. Even though I kind of knew it was happening, great end. And Tessa Blanchard in TNA is going to cause and rustle some feathers, that's for sure. Right, number one contenders match. Joe Hendry, Josh Alexander, Mike Santana, Steve Maclin. Now I had Santana down. I thought Santana was going to win this. This match was a hard fought, fatal four. It went back and forth between them all. It was just a great. As fatal four ways go, because sometimes there's a lot of action going on. I think what they did do well here at TNA was they managed to separate the action, so you could see enough. There weren't stuff that you were missing. It was all over the place. It was still all over the place, sorry, but it was just perfectly put on. The TNA really loved it. They battled back and forth. Santana was diving here, there, and everywhere. Joe Hendry decided to dive here, there, and everywhere. Alexander did get the zip tie, and he tied Santana to the barricade, and then he hits Maclin below the belt. And as he does that, Joe Hendry hits the standing ovation and picks up the victory. So at Genesis, Joe Hendry gets the TNA championship opportunity. I was quite surprised by that. I thought maybe they were going to keep on going, but it could be the time of, you know, that they're going to pull the trigger on him at the start of the year, perhaps a championship. I've got a theory on it, and I'll tell you what it is now. And obviously, you know, we've got to talk about the main event. So I'm not going to say who Joe Hendry beats, but this is what I think. Genesis, Joe Hendry wins the championship. Everyone's celebrating, having a great time. Kazarian blindsides him and cashes in, and he wins the TNA Heavyweight Championship. And it just, you have that high of highs because Joe Hendry has won it. Boom, hits the low of lows because Kazarian comes out and cashes in. That's my prediction. By the way, it's a prediction, not a spoiler. I don't know this is going to happen, but I feel as if that's where it's going. Um, but yeah, and Santana and Maclin continued to impress in this one. Alexander was just a rock, as always, and we know looks like he's exploring free agency come February. So perhaps a program with Santana. He did zip tie Santana to the ring apron. So perhaps where they're looking at that is the final one for him is to go against Santana and maybe have a series of matches with Santana, which I'm all here for. We can see that all day long. They had a quick interview with Nick Nemeth. He hyped up the main event. And now it's time for Masha Slamovich and Tasha Steelz. But this match was now Falls Count Anywhere. Alicia Edwards was banned from ringside and banned from the building. He brung out additional security as well. Thank Christ for that, Santino. You've done a good decision there. It was a brilliant match. These two, again, they went everywhere. This was just crazy. That Slamovich as champion is really starting to be believable, and the momentum's getting behind her. But Tasha Steelz, somebody who, a lot of people were like, oh, this is obviously going to be Masha Slamovich's victory. But you know what? Tasha Steelz is no slouch, and she put up a really, really good effort in this match. I really was impressed with her. You don't get to see too much of her beforehand. And she really held her own in there with Masha Slamovich. I thought I didn't have massive expectations. I think the Falls Count Anywhere stipulation may have helped a little bit. I didn't have like a big like this match is going to be amazing. But it turned out to be really, really good, solid, impressive. And at the end of the day, Tasha Steelz is definitely one that you would expect in the future to be there or thereabouts. However, in this match, it was a couple of stiff shots and a power driver later, and Slamovich retains the world heavyweight, the world championship. As I said, a lot of people will say that nothing that was never really in doubt, but I did like the fact that it was a Falls Count anyway because it added a little bit of potential to that. Like, sometimes people say, well, the match is too obvious because it's a single match. But when you add that stipulation, you're like, oh, hang on, this could, because, they could do something on the outside and it would work. And kudos. I mean, again, solid encounter, strong championship victory. Tasha Steelz doesn't look weak in defeat at all. If anything, that defeat elevates her further. And I'm looking forward to seeing what 2025 has in store for Tasha Steelz. It's going to be brilliant for her. I think she could be a standout next year. Tables match time. Hardy's System, Eddie Edwards, Brian Myers, World Tag Team Championships. I mean, this is this was just classic. This was a classic Hardy Boys match. Obviously, given their ties to the TLC matches. I'm kind of hoping this is the end of the feud. I did say that the other day, yesterday, sorry, on the review show of Impact. I was hoping that this would be the end of the System and the Hardys would go elsewhere. Seemingly, that's the case, perhaps with the Rascalz on this. There was a bit on the outside of the ring where Eddie Edwards slapped a fan. Well, a fan slapped him. To be fair, he got into a confrontation, and they were just, and all of a sudden the fan just clipped Edwards, and Edwards bang slaps him. I don't know if that was a plant or what, but I was like, Jesus, because it didn't look like, plants as fans, when you do it, they sometimes they look obvious, if you know what I mean. You could say, oh yeah, that's a plant. He just looked like me. No, well, didn't look like me, but if you know what I mean, in terms of like, it didn't look like an average plant. It looked like a genuine fan. It got ejected from the arena, I believe. So I don't know if, again, I'm going to have to say, I'm not sure if this was legit or what. But my God, and Edwards was like, he went to the camera, was like, Now we're having fun. It was just brilliant. If it was legit and this was a fan slapping him, Edwards took it. I mean, he didn't, I mean, yes, he slapped him back, but he didn't like, go in or anything. He just went off and carried on his own business. And there was just loads of stuff on here. It went backstage. It was all over the place. Low blows, chair shots. And of course, it wouldn't be a tables match, and you wouldn't have the Hardys without Jeff doing something absolutely nuts. And yes, Jeff, he done something that was absolutely nuts. He decided he was going to swanton bomb off the balcony through a table. Incredible action from these. I just like, um, I love it. I love it. Listen, the Hardys are always one of my favorites, and it's just great to see them having doing what they do best, and there's no issues or anything like that. And the balcony, well, Jeff, keep being Jeff. You just keep being Jeff. Crazy. Hardy boys pick up the victory on this, retain the titles. Hopefully, the Rascalz are in their sights. That would be a really interesting way to kick off 2025. But I do think that the system thing now and the Hardys is finished. Now we come to the main event of the evening. Nick Nemeth, AJ Francis World Championship match. And I tell you what, right? And I'll say this again. AJ Francis is TNA's MVP of 2024. He was brilliant. Francis in this match set out what he was going to do. He delivered his best performance today. Listen, when you've got someone like Nick Nemeth in there, it helps, right? But AJ Francis absolutely held his own of this match. He was brilliant. Nick Nemeth was overpowered, physically outmatched by Francis, which is right, because that's, you know, AJ Francis is the bigger guy. And it was, Casey Navarro on the outside. He was getting involved. He ended up getting ejected from ringside. There was a couple of times when, again, AJ Francis looked like he had the match won. And you were like, oh my God, because you never know. With this one, it was always one of those things that you just wasn't sure, because um, you always expected Nick Nemeth to win, but you were sitting there. And I was watching this match, and every time I was guessing it's going on and going on, I'm thinking, AJ's going to win this. They're going to do something here. AJ's going to walk out champion. He did hit a choke slam as well, and he tosses Nemeth around the ring as well. But Nick Nemeth did get the job done. Famous are a super kick and a danger zone. Now, what I like about that is AJ Francis wasn't just put away with a move. It took the famous, it took the super kick, it took the danger zone to get the job done. So AJ Francis looked strong. But this, for me, a career defining outing for AJ Francis. And kudos to him for getting in there and delivering an incredible, incredible match for him. Absolutely brilliant. I loved it. I thought it was great. And AJ Francis, brilliant. Yeah, well, round of applause because he was outstanding in that. Because no one gave him a hope. There was a lot of slating online. He went out there and delivered a top quality match. Yes, against a top quality opponent, but he didn't look out of place in there at all. However, let's go back to what happens after the bell. From behind, Navarro gangs up. Francis and Navarro going up. Out comes Joe Hendry, and they both grab the title and they stare each other down as they end, and they was arguing. No JBL on this occasion, no JBL. But you know what? That was a fantastic, they did tease a little heel turn from Nemeth on here, and I just wonder whether they're going in that direction. Maybe he aligns himself with JBL going forward. I don't know if that's going to happen or not, but maybe that's going to be the differentiator in this match. Or does he turn heel in the match? Because we've seen that a few times. We'll find out at Genesis, but TNA wrapped up 2024 pay-per-views with a brilliant match, brilliant show, brilliant matches, lots of fun. And you know what? This year for TNA has been a standout. They are back. They were back years ago, but they're back right now in 2024. They're delivering, they're hitting high standards, and they've set a high bar now for next year. TNA have got to jump that even higher, and they will do that. with the live impacts, with everything they've got going on. Will they lose stars? Yes. Will they gain stars? Yes. Will they make stars? Without a question. And guys, do not forget to get your weekly fix of TNA. Get the TNA Plus app. Get it subscribed. You're saving $9.99 because a certain other network is closing over here in the UK. What better way to spend it than getting your TNA Plus app? Get there on there, watch it, watch all the latest stuff, watch the archive stuff, watch the pay-per-views. Do that, watch some TNA, and make 2025 even more successful for TNA Wrestling. But that wraps up the Final Resolution review on the Hitting the Turnbuckle podcast. We'll be back with AEW. We're back with Saturday night's main event. We've got some interviews dropping as well. Keep it locked on the channel, HTT Buckle on X, HTT Buckle on YouTube, Hitting the Turnbuckle podcast on Instagram. Until tomorrow, everybody, buckle down, stay safe, and cross the line.